You're listening to the 16th edition of the Bitachon podcast, and we're going to pick up where we left off. We were speaking about the story of Yosef HaTzadik, and the Madrigas Adam says here at the end of the 4th chapter of Darkei Bitachon, we mentioned this last time, it's very important, and I actually mentioned it recently in the Parsha podcast, that Yosef HaTzadik was on a very exalted level of Bitachon. That being the case, it seems like a punishment. It seems like Yosef HaTzadik, he didn't have bitachon, he trusted in a person instead of trusting in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore the result was that he was punished with 2 more years. Says the Alter of Navardik, nothing could be further from the truth. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not want him to lose his great level of bitachon. If not for the fact that he would have indeed had 2 more years to sit in jail because of his sin, you could have made a mistake to think that his bitachon indeed helped him. I'm sorry, not his bitachon, his shtadlus helped him, right? That's a big danger. The Alter of Navardik feels that the danger of falling into the belief that my shtadlus is what's accomplishing things for me and it's not Hashem, that danger is so great, stay far, far away from shtadlus at all. But even we, who are involved in hishtadlus, right? We may not be holding, we likely are not holding on this very, very high level of bitachon without hishtadlus. So we have to watch out. We have to be careful. Anytime we do hishtadlus, there's a great danger. We could fall into the fact, we can fall into believing in our mind something which is not a fact, that this is what's accomplishing it for us, and it's not so at all. He could think that it was the request that he made of the Sarah Mashkim, that he should remember him. That's what got him out. And he would set a new precedent for himself, that from now on, that it's appropriate. It's in fact, not only is it appropriate, you see it worked. So obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do hishtadlus. He wants me to put in efforts. This is what gets me what I need. Hashem wanted Yosef to be on a very, very high level of bitachon. He needed to see experientially that not only didn't it help him at all, it didn't do anything for him at all. Not only did it not help him get out of jail, it made it even less likely that he would get out of jail. It made it take another 2 years. And I'd like to point out that how would he know he's supposed to get out now? No, it was very clear to Yosef. He saw that this guy came in and it was clear that he was his ticket out. This guy, the Sar Mashim, was his ticket out of the jail. He saw Paro every single day. The only one who could grant him the freedom that he wished could only be Paro. So this was his ticket out, and indeed that's how it was in the end. So he knew that this must be the time. But then he languished in jail for another 2 years. So it would be clear to him that he made a mistake. He needed to realize that it was the opposite. Being involved in that very hishtadlus that he thought would help him, it only made it farther, made his salvation farther away. Right? So he could have made the mistake to believe that indeed it would have helped him. So Hashem, therefore, says the Alter, his Yisod, which is, don't think about tomorrow. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't be so concerned. Stop trying to make sure that tomorrow you're going to be okay. Are you okay today? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you what you need today. That's all you need to know. You don't need to worry about tomorrow. To the extent that you focus on your connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you recognize that He's providing me today, you will get what you need tomorrow. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to be worried about it. You don't have to put hishtadlus in. You have to put in so much efforts. Okay. He wouldn't have had to put in so much efforts. He would have come out immediately from jail if he hadn't made that extra statement to the Sarah Mashkim, which wasn't so now. He put in the efforts now. For this reason, it was added on an extra 2 years. And I'd like to mention a few things here. Number one is I read recently in a sefer, I don't really want to mention which one, but it was a sefer about Bitachon, Amunah. He mentioned that a person needs to put in all efforts and leave the results to Hashem. And that there is such a shita. It's important to know that there is such an opinion, but that is not necessarily the main opinion. Even the Chavis Halavavis, who says that we need to put in efforts, doesn't say you have to put in all efforts that you possibly can. Maybe reasonable efforts. But there's always a danger in that thinking of, I have to do every effort and then leave the results to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not need me to do every effort. Hashem doesn't need me to do any effort. That's the honest truth. Hashem can give me what I need without, He can just drop $1 million on me if He wants to. And He's willing to do that if I have the proper bitachon in Him. Right? There is such a thing, and it's important to know that. I do not need to do every effort. I do not even need to do any effort sometimes. Sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu, literally, it's been my experience, out of nowhere, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send me a job. I didn't try to get the job. I wasn't making any efforts to obtain that job. It just comes. So there is such a thing. You do not need to do every effort. That's for sure. I don't believe that that's true. And I don't believe personally that it's helpful. Anytime that I've put in every effort, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has shown me that, chill back, step back, chill out. You don't have to do so much. This is not your job. And then it's very hard to put in every effort and then not have your knuckles white trying to hold on to the results. It's not the altar holds it. That's a mistake. Don't go that way. And don't put in every effort. Don't put in any effort. Don't do ishtadlus. Have bitachon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yosef HaTzadik was meant to not do anything. He was meant to stand by and wait for Yeshuas Hashem. His yatzavu u'ra'u es Yeshuas Hashem. Stand by and watch. It's a pasuk talking about Yetzias Mitzrayim. Stand by and watch. Hashem will save you. It's important to know that. And the Alter says that this is a main point when it comes to derech habitachon. And I read this in the Parsha podcast, but I want to read it again. It's so important. Person it's a must. Don't worry about tomorrow. But because when a person is worried and he's looking, what ishtadlus can I do? First of all, he's not going to benefit from it. He's going to lose out from it. And now, I just want to say something again from my experience, which I believe I've mentioned, but sometimes I have found that if I do a minimal effort, but a wholehearted effort, minimal effort, but wholehearted, what I accomplish with that is I show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that I'm not being lazy. Now, that's a completely different thing than putting in every effort to try to get what I want, try to get my needs met, to try to get parnasa. That's different than I'm doing something which I know is not enough. I'm doing it completely just to prove to myself, to my heart, which is attached to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to myself. Perhaps we could even say with a capital S, the piece of me that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu is inside of me, to prove to myself that I'm not just being lazy. That's a different thing than putting in every effort to try to get what I want. That's not when the focus is, I'm just doing it because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to show I'm not lazy. That's a different story. Okay? When I'm chasing after the hishtadlus, when I'm chasing after the thing that I think is going to be the cause for me to get what I want, to get what I need, what happens is it actually pushes away the result that I want, as we saw by Yosef. There's a general principle that when I run after something, the thing that I'm running after runs away from me. Right? If let's say I want my child to be at the Shabbos table, I want my child to come and sing with me, to sing at the Shabbos table, the more that I try to get that, the more I chase after it, I'm pushing the person away. Doesn't mean that I can't express that I would like that, but I need to be careful how I do it. I need to be doiche small, but ka'ir b'yamin. I pull in with the stronger hand. I have to show my love. I have to show my understanding. But it's also true when it comes to ishtadlus. If I put too much efforts into ishtadlus, it pushes away the results that I want. I've had this experience myself many times. The Gra says this, just like we find there's a concept that if you run after greatness, you run after fame, you run after covered honor, it runs away from you. If you run away from greatness, it runs after you. So too it is with all of the measures, all matters. Specifically says the Gra, it's true in regards to Bitachon. The more I run after certain hishtadlusin, the more I will not get what I want. It's counterintuitive, but it's true. This is something that experience proves to those people who are trying to behold, to rise up in their spirituality, trying to have bitachon in Hashem Yisbarach Shemay Be'emes. And here I'd like to interject 2 points. We'll see if we have enough time for both of them. But the first point is something I had a discussion on Thursday with somebody who I mentioned a few times in the podcast, Mordechai Diamond, Rabbi Mordechai Diamond, who is, according to my Rosh Hashiva, the Baal Bitachon Ador, the Baal Bitachon of our generation. And I discussed with him, what is it like? How does he approach bitachon? What is his understanding of bitachon? How does it work for him? Why does it work for him? And he said to me that the idea is, what is bitachon? Bitachon is not just, I get what I want from God. It's not like this trick. It's not like this, I trust in God and then I get what I want from God. That's not it. Bitachon is something which is an expression of avodas Hashem. It's an expression of my service of Hashem, of my relationship with Hashem. What does that mean? It means that bitachon, my trust in God, is an outcropping of my relationship with Hashem. If I love Hashem, I have a relationship with Hashem. Hashem is my loving Father who I'm always turning to, and I recognize that everything that happens in my life is from Him, whether it's good things or bad things. Okay? If now I say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, I really need this thing. I want to feel close to you. I want to feel like you are the God who provides for me. I want to feel like you are the one who's in my life. And I really need this particular thing. Whatever it might be. I want my child to have success in his learning Torah. I want my daughter to feel happy with the school that she's in. I want my kids to be joyous and feel good and have good experiences in their lives. If that's the bitachon is about me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So then, that's what bitachon is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't say no. Why can't He say no? Because He's our Father. He wants to help us. He wants to give us what we want, not because we want it and we're playing a trick on God and we're getting what we want. No, it's because it has to do with our relationship. Hashem wants to give us a kiss. If I ask for a kiss, if I ask for a hug from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I have a relationship with Him, I love Him and He loves me, so then it's all part of my avodas Hashem. It's all part of my service of God. And this is something I heard recently also on a shiur from Rav Brog, which I highly recommend. There's a few shiurim on bitachon, and he's a tremendous Baal Bitachon himself. You can hear his amazing stories. What he said, what are the ways to work on bitachon? How does a person get into bitachon that it really works for him? It's by constantly being aware of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Constantly repeating psukim. Our Sheshiva says this idea as well, and I saw it elsewhere brought down. Hashem tzivaka simanu. Miskav lana lohea kevsela. Hashem tzivaka is ashrei adam b'teach bach. Blessed is the one who trusts in you. Hashem Hashem is going to save us in the day that we call out for Him. Repeating psukim, pasuk that you might relate to, whatever it is. Baruch HaGever Sheyiftach Hashem. There's so many psukim. There's a group of 15 psukim. He says at the end of Psukei Dezimra before Mizmor L'Saida. There's a whole bunch of psukim there. All of them express our faith in God, our trust in Him that He's going to help us. He's going to give us what we need. So bitachon, it's this sense, it's this feeling that we have a real relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that He will provide what we need because we have that relationship with Him. That's one point. And the second point I'd like to add is something that's very important. Just need to see how much time we have here. The second point is something that my Rosh Hashiva spoke about in this past week's Parsha, which was not what I read. What I read in my Parsha podcast was from a few years ago, but he said something this year. He sends out a Parsha sheet every week. He talks about the fact that there's a concept of strengthening our bitachon. Our bitachon goes in waves. He brings from the back of Evan Shalema, the Gra, from the student of the Gra of Shmuel Maltzin, who writes that when it comes to bitachon, we find this to be true in regards to even the Nevi'im, the greatest tzaddikim. There were times where they had stronger bitachon. There were times where their bitachon was so strong it couldn't be broken, and they accomplished awesome things with their bitachon. They were able to get whatever they needed. There are times when a person that feels weak in their bitachon. Shmuel HaNavi, that's the classic example. He was afraid of Shaul. Why was he afraid? Where was his bitachon? Because he didn't really want to go to anoint David HaMelech, so therefore he felt a weakness in his bitachon. Therefore he felt that Shaul's going to know about it. He's going to find out. So we find that there's such a thing that our bitachon, our emunah, can waver, can go up and down. And so it's something that it has to do with our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It has to do with our relationship with Hashem. Sometimes we feel it. Sometimes we feel His love. Sometimes we feel connected to Him. I had a story just this past week on a Wednesday night or Tuesday night where I went somewhere and I needed a certain thing, and the person who was behind the cash register wasn't sure how to do something for me. And he would need to call his boss, and he said his boss wasn't picking up the phone. I said, I have bitachon, and I felt it really strong. It's not a place that I often go to. I needed something to be done immediately. I have bitachon that he's going to pick up that phone. And he did pick up the phone, and he was able to, Baruch Hashem, get me what I needed. But it's something where sometimes you feel it. Sometimes you just feel it inside of you. You have that bitachon, and sometimes you don't. And it's that way in all of our relationships, whether it's with our spouse, whether it's with our children, whatever it is. But it's something that we need to strengthen in ourselves. Avram Avinu, as my Rosh Hashiva points out, it says that Hashem made him a promise. Avram, he believed him. What does it mean he believed him? It means that he felt it. He worked on himself so he should feel that Kodesh Baruch Hu's promise would come true to him. And also in our bitachon, it's something that we need to strengthen, because we can be weakened. As we see with Yosef HaTzadik, he was someone on an exalted level, and yet he fell at this point. So we need to know it's something that we need to watch out for. Like I mentioned in the Parsha podcast, we need to be careful not to be pulled down in our bitachon. It's an emotional state. Bitachon is an emotional state. Sometimes we have it and sometimes we don't. If we don't have it at this moment, we need to strengthen ourselves in it. And we need to recognize that there are things that take away from our bitachon, take away from our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from our avodas Hashem, from our feeling of connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we need to watch out from those things, because those are poison that takes away from our bitachon. To be continued. Thank you so much for listening.